All right.
Hi, my name is Rich. I use the he, him pronouns. You're watching my YouTube channel where I play amazing tabletop role-playing games with friends. This is the Intercontinental Group of Awesome, and we are continuing our foray into Xcrawl, the Vagabonds of Xcrawl hack that Jen has cooked up for us. And we are in the middle of the Smoky Mountains crawl. So I will hand the comm to you, Jen.
Well, hello and thank you. My name is Jen. I will be your dungeon judge or DJ for this game. My pronouns are she and her. And we left this party off at the end of a boss battle room where you were fighting a fire serpent and some magmen and some fire methods. And it was a pretty chaotic, messy, brutal scene of tremendous violence, exciting, daring do. And you managed, of course, to succeed without losing a single party member. I know, an incredible critical hit felled, what was the serpent called? What was their wiggly name? Flame Coil, the fire serpent, who will not be returning for a later season for reasons of being dead. And we're going to introduce our characters and maybe have you talk a little bit. Necro Coil, yeah, that's true. There's no rest for the wicked. They could rise them up. But we're going to go around and have folks introduce their characters and perhaps show what they're up to in the very brief moments between the true cessation of combat and then the reopening of the scene. So I'm going to start with Sabine. Could you tell us who you're playing as, what they're like?
Yeah, sure. I am playing Gildor Anglarion, also called Cobra. Gildor is the son of the rather famous TV show host Yondarel Anglarion, who you probably know the game, who won your name. But yeah, anyway, he has tried his own steps in the showbiz as a yoga show host. That didn't go too well for reasons of maybe poor impulse control. Let's phrase it like that. And can you hear me? Because
you're a little choppy, but we can hear you and see you.
Okay, good. Anyway, he is currently he's trying to make his own strides in the Xcrawl thing. He thinks he can maybe open up a fighting yoga school if he gets enough interest, and that Xcrawl will help him do that. He well, last we saw him, he was standing atop Flame Coil in the battle. Now this has been resolved, and he has taken some healing potions and some other healing options, and he is feeling pretty okay. He has sustained some damage, some fire damage, and he has taken off his shirt. Right, he has taken off his shirt, just because it was.
That's good television right there.
It's not. He's well trained, and stuff like that. So he will give a wink at the camera. No, he needs to be mysterious. He will give mysterious looks at the camera, however that looks. Probably squint.
One of those looks where people are like, "Was that a wink?" Take that to the judges. Was that a wink? Yep, very good. Yeah, and I believe that between games, it was put up to a vote of sorts. And in fact, Gildor's father's show is called Who Wants to Be a Legionnaire? It was the only one that got any reactions, so that's what it is now. So if you can compete with Who Wants to Be a Legionnaire, which has been running for how many years now?
Yeah, lots. Yeah, lots. 15, 18. how else, you know?
It could last
He's
quite a long
probably
time.
been doing this.
Host consistency isn't going to be an issue for this show.
Yeah, right?
Yep. Yep.
And he still looks good, and he still got his thing going on. He's very good looking. He doesn't
Oh,
have to do a lot.
I mean,
Really,
he's
he
an
looks
elf.
at the camera and smiles. He's an elf. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
They don't add the sparkle in post-production. The sparkle's already there.
Right. If
Yep.
you were a vampire elf, that would be even worse. But I'm shutting up now.
Okay. Tyler, who you playing? What are they up to?
Hi there, I'm Tyler, he and pronouns, and I am playing Dominic Little Big Man McStubbins, a small folk bard with flashy style and dreams of moving beyond the dangerous Xcrawl competitions to one day be a star and influencer elsewhere. But for now, he, his rapier, his many instruments, and his glowing smile are lighting up the mage waves to show how it's done out here in the old dungeons. He's a very confident sort of guy, his ego far larger than his small frame should seem to be able to contain. But he backs it up with pretty good sword skills, and he is a heroic sort. At the very least, he portrays a heroic sort, and so far we've sort of seen that. He does care deeply about his team, and he does a little healing here and there, and he's a nice enough guy.
Nice enough for, you know, a blood sport television show. Exactly. All right. Next up, Alex. Who you playing? Tell us all about her.
I think I was unmuted and then I muted myself instead. I'm playing Debs. She is a second generation Xcrawler. Parents were obviously the half orc Gore One Tooth and Margaret Johan Dotter from Iceland. Both Xcrawling giants, both figuratively and literally. And I think we see her, I think she's like set a warhammer and is resting an elbow on it, kind of supporting herself slightly to catch her breath, with a kind of a very tired smile on her face, and like kind of waving to the cameras, and then quickly like noticing a little bit of fire on her and just like, because, you know, she likes that top that she wears, so she doesn't want it to burn up.
It would be bad.
Yeah.
Of course, there's a precedent for this, as set in the, you know, 1992 Fireball Cup, right? But you don't want to activate those protocols. It's a little embarrassing. Anyways, thank you for letting us know all about Debs. Next up, Rich, tell us who you're playing.
I am playing Philip Griffin Nearly, the party wizard, a human wizard who's wiry guy, redhead, wearing glasses, the cool looking Van Dyke. And he is most proud of, probably should be most proud of graduating magna cum laude from the Long Island's Wizards Academy, but he probably is honestly most proud of his ferret familiar, Urfel J. Offengoof. And in that little bit you asked from us, I think before we come back in, he's petting Urfel and telling him he was such a good little ferret.
Oh, wonderful, charming. There's definitely an awe moment for the recordings back home. So as just to reset the scene, so to speak, you guys have been in the gallery doing this combat, and it's this large, high-ceilinged chamber which has some distinctly dwarfish feels to it. Several passageways leading out. Some of them have rail track that leads through and between them. It's hot, muggy in here. The big torches really making the space glow with warm yet menacing light. And the gallery sort of narrows down the deeper you go into it. And as you're recovering from the fight, you get a little bit of a grace period of breather time for potions and so on before some spotlights start to queue up and trail just from where you are standing in a more or less regular unit as a group, and then towards the back of the gallery. An arcane video screen pops up nearby with the face of DJ Willow Byrne filling most of it. And she says, "Congratulations! You have bested this incredible battle and provided quite a lot of footage. Thrills, teamwork, maybe not so many chills. It's a bit hot in here for that. But since you did such an excellent job and survived, all of you will be receiving a Durachef Vesuvius 452 gas oven. And then if you'll follow the lights, you'll be receiving a few slightly more close to hand things in reward for your performance today." As you step along towards the end of the gallery, a few plinths rise up out of the floor, extremely presentational, right? On one of the plinths is a wand. On one of the plinths is a wooden case with this sort of glossy light blue paint and these very carefully done frost sort of decorations. On one of them is what's clearly a throwing hammer to Debs, and what to everybody else is probably, well, it's kind of a hammer, I guess. It's got a strap on the end. Then on one of the plinths is, would they present this folded up, or would they try to, you know what? Yeah, one of the plinths has this folded up sort of orange and red and yellow mess of fabric, which once the plinth is fully risen, it rises up and it's this robe with these really bold, fiery accents to it. And then from a nearby no-go door, of course, your usual hot-panted ladies and fellows with the big presentational checks worth 2,000 gold pieces. And of course, there is one check and hot dancer for each of you. So now, time to step out of discussing things in sort of a realist physical fashion, and time to start talking about the objects in a mechanical fashion. So presented to you are a wand of magic detection with 3 charges. This wand will regain 1d3 charges every day. Inside of that blue box are 10 pieces of ice ammunition. I am leaving the type of ammunition ambiguous. They do the thing. They do a little extra damage to fire elementally tagged enemies. The throwing hammer is a Vulcan's Mark brand throwing hammer, which does not have the fragile tag, meaning that it's your throwing hammer for life.
That'll need a name.
It'll need a
A
name.
personal name. Obviously, it has its make.
And Balenciaga robes of fire resistance +1. There's a little something for everybody, but if y'all have any particular ideas about where this stuff should go, let me know. Talk amongst yourselves. Determine where these things go.
I mean, Debs is going to go to the plinth with the hammer, but she'll like stop for a second, just like, is it okay if I take?
That's all you.
And I, like,
You should
swing it
call
around
Debs.
a little bit. I give him a little shoulder punch, you know, just a little gentle one, like a like playful, like, no, good one.
I could go for the ammunition or the robes, but the ammunition would probably be my choice. Unless anybody grab it.
Go for it.
Considering that I seem to be missing my shirt, I will, if nobody has any objection, I will grab those ropes. I might have had use for the ammunition, but I will defer to you, Dominic. You're the far better shot.
Thank you.
Are you sure you want to put a shirt on, Cobra?
What if it gets cold?
Well, that's not
Feels-
bad either.
Well, it feels like in this case, precaution might be the mother of staying safe.
All right.
Unless you wanted to have these ropes. I do not need a wand of magic detection, but you know, our physical possessions are only a weight to drag you down, really.
Not really my color, but I guess I'll take the wand. That could be super useful. I'll go with the wand. And you can have the robes. It's good. It's like it's tailor-made. It's like they knew we would get through.
It's like they figured it out.
It was never in doubt, guys.
I mean, they got to have something prepared in case you win. Maybe something prepared in case you don't win. But yes, we should also talk about XP.
Ooh.
So you guys just defeated a star monster. So that is 1 XP for everybody. And let's see. Yep. I think you acquired some meaningful loot too. So that's an additional 1 XP for everybody.
4. 1 more XP.
So close.
So close. Just taste it. All right. Yeah, you're definitely going to have another level under your belt before you, well, as you leave this dungeon, I suppose. But of course, loot gathered, congratulations offered, photography moment, holding on to your great big checks taken, and you are moving onward, deeper into the dungeon. The end of the gallery narrows down in height and breadth to the passageway that leads to a, looks like a minecart loading platform, where, quite frankly, minecarts arrive from one tunnel and can stop here and get loaded up and then go on deeper. The tunnel is lit with the occasional, not torch this time. It's a lot like the lighting that was available in the elevator. You will note with perhaps some apprehension that it's not, the lights aren't super close together. There are definitely pools of darkness between them. And the tunnel that these mine carts would go down, clearly it takes a turn not too long after the carts are loaded here. Placed conspicuously in the entrance of this loading platform is a display stand with 4 glowing gemstones the size of footballs. Just beyond that display, of course, 2 sets of rails line that deep and regular rut in the floor. So this isn't just a quick hack job of putting these mine carts down. And then 4 rail cars slide suggestively in place before you.
Well, it looks like our transportation has arrived.
And an AVS screen pops up again nearby. It's not just your transportation. These rail cars, of course, go through from one side of the mountain to the other, to the exit of this very dungeon. But in order to really show us that you've got what it takes, that you can be the pride not only of Pluto and Vulcan, but the pride of this crawl, you will need to take all 4 of these gems and deliver them at the end of the ride. There might be twists and turns, there might be dips and drops, but your gemstones should stay with you to the bitter end. If you're ready, take a ride, and good luck. Beep. Screen goes off.
Well, team, are we ready?
A little bit more to go.
Of course.
We got
Yes. Ready is just a state of mind.
This didn't count as a rest to clear magical healing, did it?
Mm-mm.
No. Okay.
No.
All right.
How big are these gems, by the way?
They're about the size of a football.
Okay.
In a mechanical moment, I'll tell you that controlling a gemstone takes one hand unless you've taken special care to secure the stone in another way.
Hmm.
It's quite big.
And we
And
each
they're-
have to hold our own. We can't
Yeah.
double up. Okay.
Well,
And we can.
you know what? There was no rule stated. So yeah, you could double up if you
Right.
felt like it.
Can we put them in a backpack? Is that possible?
If you choose
In a
to do so.
Gucci
Yeah.
backpack.
Yes, I have a Gucci backpack, and I mean, come on, I have a contract that I will show that off. So
Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
Gucci backpack is capable of holding 2 of them.
okay,
There is other stuff in there.
yeah, that's true. I don't think I have the water bottles anymore, and I drank the potion of healing, but I have the
I
ropes.
think
They
I
are
have
not.
my potion
50
as
feet
well.
of rope takes up a lot of space, but
Fire resistant
uh,
potion gone.
I know that my pack is filled with Dr. Enough bottles, so I'll have to carry it.
priorities.
Guess if we
I
drink another
don't
Dr.
have. I
Enough
have
bottle while
the
we're
rope
working this
in
out.
I have enough. I have the rope in my backpack, but I can just use the rope to secure myself to or whatever to the wagon. I mean, I don't have the rope. That is not. I don't think it was a very special rope. No,
Yeah,
it's not.
it looks pretty plain.
I'm going to hand my rope to Debs, since you
Oh.
don't have any rope, and this we might need it. It's always good to have a bit of rope.
Always good to have a bit of rope. Agree. I tie it around as a belt.
My Uncle Sam used to say that all the time.
Wise words.
As you handle the gemstones, they are very obviously a prop. Like they're actually pretty light, and they are rigged up with some kind of light inside that glows in a very artificial and televisual kind of way. Obviously, they are made to look extra sparkly.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess. I guess I have some sort of holster for my warhammer, so I'm just gonna jump onto my back and have the unnamed as yet throwing hammer ready in my other hand, just in case.
Okay.
All right, so just to be super clear, it looks like we have 2 gems in Gildor's backpack.
That's okay with everyone. I can carry 2, but
I don't hear any objections, so there it goes.
Yep.
1 gem is being held by Debs in hand.
Yep.
I cleared space in my backpack to carry 1, but Griff, if you'd rather carry it, that's cool too.
I'll keep a close eye over you, little big man, and thank you very much for the offer. He says he drinks another one of his. I'm trying to empty out my backpack by drinking this lovely Dr. Enough. Sparkling.
well, you can always have one of my balls, my crystal orbs.
That's good to know.
Mhm.
All right. Do you get in the rail cars?
Yeah, let's do it.
Can you stand on the railing of the rail car? Like, I mean-
Pose, if you will.
You-
yes.
You
Me.
can, in the interest of
Well.
kindness, in the interest of kindness, I must say that while here there is enough headroom for you to do so, you have a clear understanding that that is probably not the case throughout the whole railcar ride.
That's fine. Just for the camera when we're taking off, I can stand on the railing, right?
For
And
sure.
pose a
Oh,
little,
yeah, of course.
and then yoga myself back into the rail car.
All right. Cool. And now here I am just making a bunch of GM Post-its. So who's going to be in the frontmost car? All right.
Oh. Debs will ask if you're sure.
We could get in together, I guess. Is it like 1 person per car? How small are these cars?
There's no rules. The cars are just big enough for 2 people to squeeze in.
Okay. Well, I'm.
If you're sure.
Sure, Debs.
Oh,
That sounds
yeah.
great. I like it. Although Debs could have,
Okay.
you know,
Can I
Dominic
can I
on his shoulder.
stand on the can I stand on the railing of the first car though? I mean, it's no use standing on the railing if I'm on the second car. That's uncool. Unless it's the last car, that is also cool. Then I can look behind. Then I will do that and leave you if you want to cuddle in the first car. Sure, I'll stand here. It's fine.
Unless you want to cuddle in the front car, I don't mind.
I'm here.
I'm going to get into the third car and pull out my sling and having hopefully a little cover being short, I'm going to be down a bit and ready to fight in a practical fashion.
All right, very cool. Then as you file in, I think that there's a, I think a referee comes and pulls a lever on the other side of that rail gully and says, "Good luck." And off you go. And at first, it's that kind of quick but slow. It's just starting to accelerate. So, it's about as fast as you'd go at a jog or a lazy run. The wheels thumping beneath you, steel on steel. And the occasional light is just sauntering past you in a pattern that becomes fairly regular and then speeds up. You take a dip downwards and Gildor, you're like, "Oh, that's stone." And of course, make an agile little hop into the safety of your mine car so that you are not absolutely laid out by the combination of momentum and lack of headspace. And yep. And after, about 20, 30 seconds of this, you feel like you're going at a pretty good clip. You're going along at car speeds. And that's when the set of rails beside you, you come out of a curve that sort of banks you all to one side. And then as that turn fades into another straightaway, a second set of 4 rail cars sidles up next to you, containing a whole pack of kobolds, a few of whom unfurl little wings as they prepare some kind of mischief. What do you do?
Be nudging Griff straight away.
Yeah. I've got it. I've got an idea. Okay. Looking at my adept capabilities, I think I would like to project some force. They're in their own cars, right? So maybe I could push over the cars. That's what I'm going to try to do. That seems like a thing that could happen. Stand back! And then grit my teeth.
All right.
Sorry. Reflex. So I am trying to use the adept power of Hand of Force, and I believe that I am finding a spell to solve the problem. And
Sure.
And I know all about it because I'm a magna cum laude graduate of Long Island Wizards Academy. There we go.
Sure.
Okay. So
That gives you a +2 on the roll.
It sure does. Let me see. Pushing. That is an 8.
All right.
I think I'll just take an 8. That sounds good.
Sure. All right. So on an 8, you're going to exchange blows. What's the lowest d6? You rolled a 2. All right. So let's see, what have they got here? Oh, all right. One of the kobolds sort of scoots up. You think that maybe he's standing on the back of another kobold in the mine car that he's in, and has this sort of chain with a few hooked bits on the end, and flings that towards your cart.
Oof.
So you're going to take 1 damage from that. And as you use the hand of force, it rocks that cart. And the kobolds, they really cling together as soon as they understand what's going on. You know, little scaly hands reach for other scaly hands and tails and feet, but one of them does get tossed from the cart as it wobbles and then wobbles back with a little screech. Yeah, Wilhelm scream. Maybe a few effects tossed onto it to make it sound a little bit like it's coming from a tiny lizard man. And with that chain, it sort of cut you, and now it's grappled onto your minecart, onto your front minecart. And a couple of other kobolds in the, second and third of theirs, and the fourth minecart of theirs, you notice, is empty so far. But more of them ready these grappling chains and to throw them over the side. And one of the ones with wings sort of flies overhead, yapping a little bit. Well, I say a little bit, and it makes it sound like he's yapping quietly. He's yapping very loudly. He's just not yapping much, as they are engaged in some kind of discussion, you guess, maybe. And who else has anything that they'd like to try?
I'm going to whirl my sling around as it makes a kind of loud whistling noise, and I'm going to go, "Have at you!" Zimmy! And sling one of my stones towards one of those flying up there.
Give it a roll. One of them is clearly pointing at Debs, and the other one is like just making some kind of odd gesture, but it kind of looks like a cutting gesture.
Huh. Okay.
Let's form your roll.
Yes. Let's see. I'm going after the one that is pointing at Deb. I think fighting flashy and heroing with style, and white hat baby face, because I'm helping out my buddy.
Okay, I think that there's definitely some good fictional room for that.
Okay.
Give her a roll.
Alrighty. So rolling +2. And, it kicked me out of the roller. I have to sign in again. All right. So 2d6 +2, 7.
All right. Then that's going to be your typical exchange blows sort of thing. You've got a sling, he's got a sling. You both throw rocks at each other. You take 1 damage.
Okay, and I have Bane versus Unarmored with my sling. What does that do? Is that more damage? Is that right?
Yes. If they don't have armor, which currently they do not.
Okay.
So that absolutely takes that winged kobold out.
Aha! And I bug to the camera.
For certs. Meanwhile, Debs, you see a couple of kobolds that are scrambling across the chain to get to you. They don't actually look like they want to engage you directly fighting.
Mm.
you're not quite sure what their
So-
plan is, and a couple of chains have landed in the unoccupied second cart. And
So are all the
kobolds are trying
chains
to.
there, or is there some to our cart?
There's one chain attached to the first cart,
Hmm.
and a couple of chains attached to the second cart. Basically,
I mean-
after your action here, there will probably be 2 or 3 kobolds in the second cart.
I mean, I definitely want to grab chains that are from these grappling hooks from any that I can reach, and I want to pull on those as hard as I can. If I can dislodge a whole cart, I will attempt to. If I could just yank chains out of the hands of little grappling kobolds, or just
So
whatever chaos I can create from that.
allow me to refine the image of the scene a little bit.
Mm,
Your carts are pretty close together.
mm,
One thing that comes to mind that I probably should have done in description is to say that when the cart no, they're not. If they aren't, then why would they be using chains? So there's just enough space that you're pretty sure if you yanked the other minecart train off of the rails, which, by the way, monumental effort, probably not going to happen. You're pretty sure that if you did that, it wouldn't strike your train. Pretty sure. Not totally sure. If it rolled more than half,
yeah.
if it rolled a full time, it would.
So there's the potential for massive disaster.
There's potential
Small
for
potential,
massive.
but that is there.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think I'm as reckless as that.
Debs doesn't really strike me like that. She's brave. You know, she's a half orc, but she's not reckless. She's not dumb.
Okay. So these hooks, the ends of these grapples. I think I'm going to attempt to dislodge them from our cart.
Cool.
Preferably the
from-
ones that actually have kobolds climbing across.
They all do. So
Yeah.
they know that this is a quick operation. They can't just wait around. They can't test the grapple twice. And this is television. So of course,
Yeah.
grappling hooks work, unlike in real life. So let's see. What are you trying to pull into this role?
He being all big and with the big sister. And I think I am going to kind of I'm like grabbing one of these hooks, and I do look to the kobold and go, "You got one chance to turn around, guys." And then I'm going to start pulling. So I think I'm trying to talk things out.
Okay,
I'm
you're
trying to be nice.
trying to be
I'm
nice.
giving
You're
them
trying to.
that it might just unnerve them
It might.
and make them panic, but it's
Yep. And I think that it's silly to think that they don't understand common. So, because they're show monsters. They
Yeah.
learn at least some common. Cool. So that sounds like a +2 is what you're going for.
yeah.
All right. I
Gives
think
me
that
an 11.
your says an 11.
Yeah.
Very cool. So no kobolds will make it. Yeah, you need to show monsters for real. No kobolds will make it to the first cart. And I'm going to say that only one makes it into the second cart. And they have to try again to get more grapples onto your front cart.
I'm giving them a disapproving look to any of the ones that are trying to build up some momentum to throw another.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, and yeah, they seem cowed for a little bit. Some of them sort of spill back and try to regroup. They're going to try to focus maybe a little harder on that second cart. But one of the winged kobolds sort of ducks down, back and away, and is going to try to dive into Dominique's mining cart because there's plenty of room.
Is there a party or something during the whole time?
I'm sorry?
Is it possible that I could have done already done something, or will I just stand there and look at things?
In fact, I was going to call on you to see if you wanted to take some kind of action and react.
I did want to take some kind of action. Yes.
Then
I
let's
wanted
go.
to do that.
Yes.
Yeah. I think what I wanted to do originally was to go over to it. The last card is empty, right? Of the other train.
Their last card is empty. In
Okay.
fact, I would like you to, this is going to be not an action, but an additional thing that you can do that's not going to obviate it. But in the interest of fairness, I'd like you to try to do some kind of perceptive, read the room kind of role.
Mhm. Yeah, like figuring out what's going on with that last card, right? What they have in there. Okay.
Exactly. Like, do they
I
have
have-
something in there?
Yeah. Well, I guess, well, I mean, maybe standing in a pose is helpful here because the pose allows me to look into the card better.
You know, sure. Yeah. Yeah. Actually, that makes a lot of sense. So you stand back up
Okay.
on the edges, the tops of your rail car, get a better view.
Yeah. And I've got nothing else that will help here, but dice, I need dice. Yeah, well, that's a 5, so no idea.
All right. It looks like every other rail cart, except of course that it's empty of kobolds.
Good. That means that I can, I would try to give the backpack to Dominic in the next car because I don't want to have it when I'm attacking the kobolds in their own train, right? That doesn't make, and then I'll take my quarterstaff and just jump over.
All right. Cool. So
maybe this thing has a brake and then I can pull it and jump back and then we'll be rid of them.
that would be a very daring action. Let's see how well you cross. Here, you'll definitely have more things that you can actually bring into the role.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm flowing like water and rushing like wind, and gravity is more like, it's just a suggestion, right? Right.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, I'm keeping that 5 in mind for building.
Yeah.
Building what
For
else
whatever.
happens, for whatever.
For what I'm jumping into.
I'm not going to make your jump
See
a
if that-
failure.
That
I'm
goes
just
better.
there we go. All right.
Yeah.
Does
Jump is fine.
Does anybody want to try and push that to a 10? It's real close.
I suppose I could, since I think you are going for that one that's diving down, right? Yeah, so let's see. Look at that's the help move on this.
You spend teamwork from the teamwork pool.
Oh,
costs-
yes,
After the
costs
roll,
2.
you have to spend 2.
that's right. Then yes, I will spend 2 by trying to keep this thing's full attention on me. To give you a bit of a surprise on it.
All right. And I don't hear any disagreement from other players, so I'm gonna just smooth over that requirement and say that, yeah, there's certainly between all of you 2 other players who agree. So we're gonna call that a 10, which means that Gildor, huh? Gildor, you land
Cool.
really artfully. You use the quarterstaff to give yourself probably more stability in this jump, going at these speeds. The wind whipping through your bald head. You can feel it on your chin a little bit, though. Your robes are flowing beautifully because, of course, they're Balenciaga. And you land perched on the top sides of the new cart. And very rapidly, you feel a springiness to it that is not steel.
Oh,
This
wow.
is-
Okay.
This is not metal. And then inside of inside, would it be on the end? On the end makes more sense. On the end of the cart, sort of peeled on the edge, there's this lump that looks like maybe a patchwork repair kind of thing of metal, but it opens up into a pair of eyes.
It's a mimic.
It's a mimic, and
It's a mimic.
it's a mimic, and you know that just in time, it gets no attack on you.
I'll somersault over into the third car.
Yep. The third cart has a spilling, I'll call it, of surprised and angry kobolds who are trying to scramble into the second cart and maybe do something with their grapple chains. There's a lot of general confusion.
I will tell them you have a mimic at the back of your train.
And one of them sort of like looks, yaps at you in sort of a semi-confused manner.
Just saying.
Yep. And then a buddy of his like grabs him up as if to pass him along over his own shoulders, or her, you can't tell, they're lizards. There's still a lot of that. You witness more and more of just the way they act collectively to move anywhere in this situation. It's very visual as far as television is concerned. Good ratings. And now, as you have freed yourself from this particular danger, the results of your 5 earlier, on the other side of the rail cart that Dominique is in, the side opposite the kobold mine carts, right? You hear a scrabble, Dominique, and then somehow some couple of kobolds got over there and jump into your cart. But now I'm curious what Rich is thinking about doing next.
Well, shoving the cart down is no longer an option because Cobra's standing on it. So did we take care of the flying kobolds? I know that Dominic handled one. Was there only one? Are there more than one? Are we boarded?
You're boarded by a couple of unflying
Okay.
kobolds.
Okay.
There were about 12 kobolds. 3 of them had wings. One of the winged ones is down. There are 2 remaining. And then there are, how many is that? There are 6 regular kobolds remaining.
Okay. I think I'm going to need to transfer some heat on one of the kobolds that has boarded us. I'm trusting that Cobra can handle himself over at the other cars. So I guess
Yep, and
throwing a few.
there's also sorry, I'm gonna update this little sheet here. So there's 2 kobolds in Dominique's car, and there's 1 kobold in the car directly behind yours.
In Dominic's? Is it Dominic or Dominique?
Dominic.
Okay, cool. So Dominic, 2 in Dominic's kobold, Dominic's, and then 1 in ours. Oh, there's not room for a third.
No, 1 right behind you. You're in the
Behind.
first cart,
Okay, behind.
and the kobold's in the second cart.
I do not want that kobold to jump in, so I'm going to light my little Zippo and throw some fire his way with my adept power. And I do think I'll be leaning on my magna cum laude and spell to solve a problem. I feel like I'm always hitting that though.
So what about graduating magna cum laude helps you with
Yes.
your Zippo firing?
Maybe nothing. Yeah, I will just go with spell to solve a problem. Sounds fine.
All right. Mostly just trying to tease out a little bit more
Yeah.
description out of it. You know, if you're gonna bang the same drum, I want to hear the rhythm.
You bet. That is a 9, and I'll ride with the 9.
Okay. Then you guys are going to exchange harm. He manages to throw a little dagger at you, and then let's see how much is that. Oof, is a serious diminishment. So he's toast. He is a crispy critter.
How bad does this dagger hurt?
It's 1 damage.
1 damage. Oh, ouch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, and then let's see. One of the flying kobolds sends out a couple of sharp, loud yaps and tries to fly towards the backmost cart of yours. Lands there because there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of contest for it. And Debs, what are you up to?
I've seen that happen. I think all this fire that Griffin is producing, I think Debs is deciding she wants to get into that second cart. And I think seeing that kobold right at the far end, I got 2 throwing hammers. One of them is my new favorite, but one of them, it doesn't matter if I lose it.
It's a little old and busted. Yeah.
So making sure that my new favorite is secure, I'm gonna hop over into the second cart and lob a throwing hammer while yelling for Dominic to duck. He probably doesn't need to. And
Probably not, but additional precautions are good.
yeah, I mean there's a hefty weight on the end. Don't jump.
Oof, oof.
And
You're gonna hear about that from the Small Folks League. But let's put your roll together and see what happens.
Maybe just maybe 2 useful big sister.
So what about this action is what a big sister would do?
I'm looking out for one of the team.
Yep, okay.
Dominic is right back as furthest away from help, and
Yep, but you can be that
kobolds
help
behind
this
him.
turn. Yep.
Yeah, I think just that.
All right, let's get it rolling. Do you want to add any teamwork before you roll?
No, I'll let it roll.
All right, let it roll. Roll it. Ooh.
A 7.
Oh, that
with
is
the 1.
all right. Cool. All right, then standard exchange of harm is done. I'm going to theater of the mind this a little bit and say that it's not the flying kobold that gets you. It's actually a different kobold that hits you with a grapple chain.
Ooh.
But it's just 1 damage.
Yeah, but I have a grapple chain attached to me.
But you have a grapple chain attached to you now.
Yeah. That also means there's a kobold stuck to me. I don't think it's good for the kobold either. So.
It's probably not. They're making choices. They aren't necessarily good choices, but they're choices nonetheless.
Ah!
All right.
Blame.
Tyler, what you doing? There's a lot going on. That kobold that had dove into the 4th minecart, that hammer knocked him out of the air, out of the running. After a breath, you don't even see it anymore.
Do I still have one in the cart with me?
Actually, you still have 2 in the cart with you, and they're clever little bastards. They are clearly after your bags.
Oh, I see. I see.
They are trying to stab your backpack.
Ah, stab my backpack. That's not pleasant.
Well, you know, stab, slash, etc. They have their little daggers out.
All right then.
And you have a second backpack in here.
There is a second who's it's that Gildor.
Gildor handed off his backpack because he did not want to bring it with him into the jaws of the enemy.
Okay. So just so I get clear, we have Griff and Deb still in first car together. Is that right? Because Deb flung hammer from first car.
I think I was stepping into the second cart as I threw.
Yep. Debs is now in the second car.
All right. Then I'm going to pick up Gildor's bag with one hand. The other, my backpack is slung across my back. And I'm going to look at the 2 little kobolds, arch up to my tippy toes.
They're shorter than you on the main, but
make a little high patch, woohoo, give a spin, and I'm hitting my special move.
All right. Oh man.
And right, so I need to build a pool for it just the same. So I think be famous enough to move on beyond this. This is definitely me doing big flashy stuff to grab attention and showing off skills beyond fighting. Does seem to be heroing with style, so I think that does okay.
Yep.
I don't know. Does a weakness, is that a positive as compared to a flaw?
So a weakness is something that in general I might try to tag to give you a penalty.
Okay. All right then. So I think no nuts, no glory. That seems like a good one for this. So that's a +3, I hope.
Do I feel like tagging your weakness to bring it down to a 2?
Might be worthwhile.
I think I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna be a jerk and do it.
All righty. And I'm gonna go ahead and ask, because it's cheaper now. Hey, Debs, I'm fixing to come over there where you are. Would you like to help me by hopefully catching me? Yes.
Yes, I would.
All right.
All right, teamwork initiated. I've spent 1 free pool on your behalf.
Around was a grapple point for you.
So after all of that maneuvering, you are rolling a +3. Let's find out. how it goes.
Woo-hoo! That is a 14.
Whew,
As
hot
I
diggity dog.
will, with a 14 with my special move, I get to do a couple of things. Let's see. With my signature move, 13 plus choose all 3.
Mhm. Well, not all 3.
Oh, choose 3.
Yep. So one of your signature moves happens. Nobody on your team is left exposed by your theatrics, or take +1 to grandstanding until you leave this room. So you could choose like 2 signature move options and nobody being left exposed, or what have you.
I think I'm going to take all 3.
Okay.
As I pop off my being able to move bit, you may place yourself a short distance away. So I'm going to, I think, kind of jump up and hit the edge of the cart and do a little backflip forward into the cart ahead of me. And as Deb is reaching out to grab me, grab hold, and I'm going to swing all the way around and up to her shoulders.
All right. Excellent. And were you seeing this as an attack or just a maneuver?
This is just a maneuver to get these things, get the MacGuffins out of danger.
All right. So those 2 kobolds are left stunned, blinking, and one of them like looks to the other and is like, woohoo? He's not good at pronouncing woohoo, of course, because their lips don't do that. But you can tell that that's what he's trying to do. Gildor looks like the 3rd minecart of your team's train has just 2 confused kobolds in it. A few more. There's 1 flyer left.
Okay.
Anything on your mind to do? I can keep describing, or you can start.
No, it's these cars that we're on. Do they have a brake or something? I mean, I have a very gross idea of how to use a kobold as a brake, but I'd rather not.
I mean, that'll play well to certain
they
crowds.
They have these chains, right?
They do have these chains.
So if these chains got wrapped on around their wheels of their train, they might not be so fast and they might be left behind, right?
Yes, and I think that enough kobolds have been like knocked around here and there. I think I'm going to rule that it's incidental for you to find an unoccupied grapple chain on this cart. So you'd like to swing that into the wheels of this cart?
Yes,
Excellent.
I want to swing that into the wheels of this cart. So maybe that will stop it. And we'll get rid of this train and the problem might be
solved. Just a little bit of local color. You can see that the mimic cart, its teeth have grown in around the lips of the edge. It doesn't seem to have a lot of mobility, but you can hear kind of a grumble from it. Let's see your roll.
Yeah, what do I use for that? I mean, that doesn't help me.
I feel like Flow Like the Water, that's got to help some way. I mean, and you're rushing like the wind right now.
Oh, yes, I am, definitely. And this time I will be successful. Because I remember something like these things, right? Going up on Who Wants to Be a, how do you pronounce that? Legionnaire. Legionnaire. Okay, because they did that for a garden security stuff, right? I remember that. I have that slow flashback in my head when he was like, and this amazing thing that you can use to secure your garden, and you can use it also to secure the wheels of these carts, which he didn't say. All
right, that's a +2. Let's see how you do.
Yeah, let's see how I do.
pulling for Gildor.
Oh,
MVP.
wow. I
you got?
have Snake Eyes, so no, it's not
Oh.
going that well. Obviously, I was too much in my mind about the game show and not enough and about the whole thing with the cards and stuff like that.
Oh,
And the kobold.
man.
Maybe I just ignored totally ignored the kobolds.
Yep. Goodness. Yeah, I've got to think for a moment about what's the most interesting result from this. This was more of a maneuver and not directly combat. So well, I'm certainly within my logical rights to add some damage to me. That's not as interesting. Mhm. Tries to throw it down into there. Absolutely doesn't get it.
Fancy new ropes could get caught in the wheels.
all of the rope that you were so careful to hoard.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna call a bathroom break really quick and
Oh, okay.
take care of a couple of things. Let's meet back up. All right, so Gildor, you wind up the chain. The kobolds, like, they're doing that thing where nobody wants to be the first one to cross the threshold and possibly be retaliated against, like a line of penguins on the edge of a cliff. Who has to jump off this cliff? And you know, also you're swinging a chain. They don't want to get caught in the chain. And none of them do. You throw it down towards the wheels. There's sparks. And then smash cut. You are clinging to your friend's minecart train, basically by your fingertips, and dangling by your toes from the kobold train. How did that, if you want to describe it, how did that happen?
How did that happen? I think, yeah, that happened when the train basically sort of juddered, right? Because the chain was around the wheels, and my balance was a bit off because I was, I guess my inner peace was not there. I was distracted by thoughts of my father. Damn it. And that's why I lost my balance, and I got thrown over to I got thrown and I tried to jump, but it twisted myself a little. Now I'm hanging there and I'm kind of looking for help now, please.
Yeah. And with that, the baton passes to Griffin. Rich, what's our wizard going to be up to? And also, let's roll a 1d4. Here we go. 2. All right then. Gildor, you are clinging to the second minecart with your fingertips. So that is the one with Debs in it. Just FYI.
It also has Griffin in it.
It also has Griffin in
try to
it.
grab and pull Gildor up. Come on. Climb with your yoga skills or something. I say as I try to pull him up into the cart.
That's how athletics works, right? All right.
Everything's been yoga with Gildor, so I'm just buying into the shtick.
Yep. So I want to roll from you. No matter what happens, Gildor is going to get out of his sticky situation because I'm not into punishing Gildor for Griffin rolling bad. But let's see how you roll.
Okay. I feel I have very little to help me here, which is A-okay. This is not my thing.
We could spend a team before you roll.
I think I will spin a team before I roll to give myself a +1.
Mhm.
Okay.
So we're down to 1 teamwork, friends. I hope. I hope. I hope. I hope. Oh my, that was a snake eyes.
That's like, is that 2 in a row? Dice, why are you so bloodthirsty?
Delicious. Both Gildor are related. You summoned your father, and look what has happened.
Dice don't like yoga. Oh, it's so cruel. All right.
Dang, man, dang.
Oh, and neither of you have a gem on you, so I can't just take it. All right. Well, I think that a turning of the tables, a replacement of the role is called for here. So, Griffin, you managed to pull Gildor up. You've sort of got to, you can see as soon as you get over that emotional barrier of athletics, how do they work? Fucking miracles. You realize that this is going to happen all at once, because there's no footholds for Gildor between your cart and their cart, right? So you give Gildor a mighty yank, and you are definitely not familiar with giving anything a mighty yank, and somehow you tumble over, and now you are on the far side of your mine cart, sort of one arm, one leg hanging over that side. So it's not quite as perilous as for Gildor visibly, but proportionally it's probably the same amount of danger. There's little rock outcroppings ahead. Good luck. Debs, what you up to?
Okay, I'm panically looking. How far away are both Gildor and Griffin? say, from
Gildor,
me?
I gotta make a new Post-it note.
Yeah.
I'm so glad, honestly. I'm so happy, because that means that that this scene has been dynamic enough to call for it. So nothing. So Deb's in the front cart. Gildor is standing upright, probably with a look of concern on his face of some stripe. Griffin is hanging over the edge of the first cart. You are in the second cart with Dominique. Directly behind you in the third cart, there are 2 kobolds. They appear to be trying to sabotage that cart. And you do.
Is there any of the gems in that cart? Or are they?
You have 1 gem under your arm.
Mhm.
And
2 in the back on my shoulder, along with Dominic.
Right. So you've taken Gildor's backpack from Dominique. Yeah.
Oh well, I think that's just part of Dominic. That's
I gladly accept it.
yeah. Okay, so I don't think I can. I trust Gildor can save Griff. I would have had to barrel past Gildor to do anything there. I just I trust the team. Ow! I realized I've got a hook in my shoulder, I think.
That's true. And in fact, a kobold's trying to climb it. They're summoning
How-
Mount Debs.
Yeah. How are they get the other end of the hooks? Are they like attached to minecarts? Are they attached to a kobolds holding the things? Have they?
It looks like they have the options to do either. It looks like there are some little hooks on the edges of their carts that can probably hold the weight of 2 or 3 kobolds, but probably not the weight of a Debs. But sometimes there have clearly been like kobolds on the other side holding it, and I think that's the situation now. I think a couple of hooks have snapped, and maybe in the heat of the moment, these other kobolds aren't thinking too clearly about their tactical choices. Plus, in my head, it's cuter if the 2 of them are just like.
I mean, I think I've got to get. Or do I just trust that Dominic can get the hook out from? Okay, there's the 2 in the cart behind.
Yep, and you hear some metallic noises. You hear some clinking, some grinding. Could be bad.
But we don't need those other carts, do we?
No,
Actually,
but if
Dominic,
they're
I kind of
wheels-
look up to Dominic. Do we need those other the carts at the back?
No.
Okay. Unfastening. Hold tight. I'm just going to ignore the hook for now because.
All right, so you're using
And I'm going to take the warhammer and
Okay.
I want to smash the joints, whatever's joining the 2 carts together.
Okay, and you're using it one-handed?
One-handed, yeah. I mean,
right.
I'm still holding the.
For sure. Let's see how it goes.
By the way, I think I will now be doing an additional 2 damage because the enemy has successfully hurt me. That is a thing in my lineage. And let's see if I can actually do something.
All right, cool.
Can I'm looking at my core floor thing. Is that a thing? Is that always something that you trigger and not?
You are welcome to float this option to me. In general, if you read the thing succumb for +3 XP, that's a specific Vagabonds thing that you can do during downtime, which like
Okay.
However, I am happy. I'm
happy.
happy to let you roll with it. But I will make bad things happen to you. Because it's wriggle into or out of trouble, and this will definitely wriggle you into trouble.
Okay. I think our level of trouble is high enough at the moment. My background of with my orc side.
All right. Yep. Embracing your orc side.
Yeah. And
all right.
Don't see how any of the others. I'm bracing my orc side, and I want to smash the.
All right. Do you want to
disconnecting carts?
Do you want to spend the last teamwork pool point?
Any resistance to that?
I don't hear it.
I'm
all right.
Point.
All right.
So this is going to be a +2.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get snake eyes. Oh,
you didn't.
I did get snake eyes, and that 2 are really useful. Luckily, we can spend after the fact with our massive pool of team.
Yep. That's so that's a 6 total.
Get on the cards, he said. Just take these out to the thing, he says. It'll be easy.
It'll be easy. All right.
Yeah.
You
I mean,
defeated-
I'm
you
trying to
defeated
disconnect
a
the
dragon
mind with a
in
hook in my
Dragon.
shoulder. I feel, it was against. Yeah.
Yep. So I think what happens is the three kobolds that you're more or less semi-directly contending with, the one that's climbing the chain that's hooked to your body, the two in the third cart. They see you raise up the hammer, and they hoist each other over in this really practiced and fluid clambering maneuver. And between the three of them, it's like a cartoon where somebody's being attacked by weasels, right? And the weasels are just this, like a ribbon being swirled around them, is how the kobolds are moving around you. And they absolutely snag Gildor's backpack off of you. And then, and you don't have a free hand, and they toss it up into the air to be snapped up by the final living flying kobold. Who lets out a little shriek of glee. Dominique, this has just happened. What do you do?
Well, I still have poor Griff down there hanging off, but we're about to lose the thing that will lose the whole bit. So, yeah, I think I have to try and take down the one that's getting our stuff. Oh, okay. I'm whirling my sling to try and hit that. Has he caught the bag yet, or is he diving? Yeah. He's caught it. All right. So I'm slinging at him.
All right, sling it. You're not slinging hash.
No, and there's no team pool. I don't have a ton of things to do here.
I mean, I can see this being a no nuts, no glory, but the other items.
Unless I come up with some sort of stunt, I don't see fighting flashy.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, we'll do no nuts, no glory, I guess, then. All right, rolling. That's a 6. I will fail.
All right. So you go in to do that. Deb's there. And I think once again, I'm going to transport the retaliatory damage away from your target and let something else that's in the scrum with you deal that. Because 2 kobolds have joined you and Debs. It's getting pretty crowded in this minecart, honestly. Like at one point, well, 3 points, you feel a kobold step on you in some way or form. And one of them does jab you with a dagger for 1 point of damage. But it looks like they're going to try to pour out of here into the third cart again. And I think that they just do that. I think that's
my armor will absorb that.
Cool. Then you're good. You feel a poke sort of bounce off of your armor as they go through that. And Gildor.
I am ignoring the kobold. I am focused on Griff. I need to. I mean, he got me off, and so I have to lever him back into the coach because.
Man.
And I And
That's
yeah.
loyalty. Is this a bonding moment for you two?
Is it?
Is it a
think it might
bonding
be.
moment? Yeah.
I'm asking Rich, what do you think?
Sure, that sounds great. Let's
Yeah.
bond over that.
Yeah. Like, do you
Yeah,
say
yeah.
anything to Griffin as you get ready to choose
yeah.
him over two fake gemstones?
I yell Griffin like I'm really like with real fear in my voice, and you don't often hear that. So I'm coming up to you and I'm grabbing you and I'm getting you in without any pose or fancy move at all, because I seem to really care.
Oh man.
You could do it. I got your back, Cobra.
Marvelous. I think the rescue just happens. I like that so much.
Yeah.
So when you have a bonding moment, each of the PCs involved chooses one. Add one to the teamwork pool, restore 2 hit points to a teammate, or sway the crowd. So Gildor, what would you like to do?
I would add one to the team pool, right? I mean, Griffin isn't hurt or anything. A little.
A little.
I think I think we can use the team right now. I'm making this. Is that okay? Do you think that's a good choice? Maybe I'll heal 2 hit points of you. I'm being like worried about you. I'm focused on you, not focused on the team. You also get the
Oh
option.
gosh,
to do
I'm
this,
fine.
so.
No,
Yeah, I mean-
no. Go ahead, do the team. It's all good. I like that. I think it restores team. Don't worry about my hit points. I got 10. That's plenty.
And
Okay.
and Griffin,
Okay.
what do
Okay.
you choose from that list?
I love the idea that the crowd becomes fanatic about us. They really care. This fail train at the end, they're gripping the edges
Yeah.
of their
So you sway the
couches.
room?
Yeah, I want to
Sway the
sway
crowd?
the room.
All right.
So they're shipping Cobra and Griffin. They're on the edge of their seats. They're phoning their friends with magical phones that I don't know how they use magic to replace.
They have
cell
phones.
Okay,
They're
it's
not
80s
using
tech, so I imagine
It's 80s tech. They're not using magic to replace everything. They're just using magic to replace inconvenient to innovate things.
Okay.
Phones are pretty simple when you get down to it. So yeah, like people are calling each other up, being like, "You gotta watch this Xcrawl right now."
Nice.
Yeah,
They have Xcrawl phone trees, and they like just go down. Right, you need to call these people. Sorry, that's old 80s tech there.
Oh, I mean, phone trees are still a handy tool for
Fair enough.
varying things and emergency stuff, and calling your buddies to make sure that they know that something cool is happening on TV. So very cool. That was quite nice. A good moment. 2 thumbs up. Griffin, as Gildor has pulled you up, relief probably just radiating from his face. What do you do? What's your activity? Looks like the winged kobold that has Gildor's backpack is settling down in the mine train of the kobolds. How many are left now? Let's see here. I think there's 1 flyer and man, I'm bad at this because I have to split the number and then do it again. Wait, I know. There are 4 kobolds and 1 flying kobold left. Bam. Doing it in the wrong order. And they look like they're going to kind of hunker down. One of them, like, they seem to be rummaging around in a little pack on their waist. And it looks like they're going to try to throw it into the 4th rail car. What do you do?
Who is that post to?
You.
Oh crap! I thought I was doing the Cobra thing. I think that I'll try. Oh man, we gotta get that. We gotta get that backpack from the flying kobold. So I'm gonna try to reach out with my hand of force and try to bring that backpack back to us. Had to slow down to not screw that up.
It's
But
a
yeah.
pack back.
Yes, bring back the pack is what I want to do.
Okay.
I'm finding a spell to solve the problem. And yeah, I don't know. Am I being surprisingly clever here? Focusing out of all the various distractions to find the one thing that really matters, which is not our hit points, not our bonding, but, getting out of here with these wonderful gems. Beautiful.
Wonderful gems. The scoring mechanism for your engagement with this challenge. Yeah, I'll allow it.
All right, there we go. That's a 9.
Hey, all right. Excellent. So you do bring the pack back. You also bring the kobold back.
To the end, yeah,
It's very surprised and clearly ready to wallop you with a sling.
Oh my.
Next up, Dominic. What up?
Right. Okay. Is there still a hook in Debs?
Yes.
Very much so, yes.
Is there still a kobold attached to said hook?
Possibly on my face by now.
Or did they all jump over? They all jumped over to the other one, didn't they? To the other carts.
So that third one was kind of ambiguously placed because I felt like I didn't need to focus on it to make that scene interesting. But I think that it made it, helped the other two with the backpack getting maneuver, right? And one of them is already back on the chain, having left the chain unoccupied, but he's going the other direction now. Does that make sense?
Sort of, yeah.
Okay.
All right. So their cart's still running parallel. We have at least 2 of them over there. We have a third that is attached to chains somewhere in the middle. We have flying one that had the backpack, has now been pulled over to us and is with us. Okay.
Yep.
All right. I am going to try to do something fairly flashy.
Ooh, okay. I like flashy.
Let's see how this goes. I am going to attempt to pull this hook out of Debs. It's got to come out, Deb. Pull it out. I imagine I'm going to get a sudden then shock of the weight of kobold on it.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to do a flying leap from Deb's back where I have been and am pulling the thing out. And as I dive forward, I want to hook the hook into the kobold that has landed in our cart.
Nasty. All right, then. Let's see you roll it.
Okay. All right. I think this is flashy and heroing with style.
Agreed.
I think I could be hurt horribly, so no nuts, no glory. And I am attempting here to help my friend, so maybe white hat baby face. So
Sure,
if
I'll allow it. Yeah,
that all passes,
that passed.
I'm going with 3.
All right.
So that will get me to an 11.
Excellent. All right, then. You absolutely do the thing. In fact,
My hope being that the kobold hooked will be yanked and the 2 of them will go well behind us.
and they sure do. Let's see here. This is an attack roll. So it's a clean strike. Now, enemy deals their damage. I think they're all minions, which is why they have been hitting so low. So yeah, you're gonna have 1 point of damage heading back your way, which your armor absorbs.
Woo.
And you take out 2 of these kobolds. So that's
Ta-da!
about that. Ta-da! Excellent. Next up, Gildor, I believe.
Should Debs go somewhere, or did she already do something?
Have I skipped Debs? Alex, let me know if I've skipped you.
Last thing I did was fail at disconnecting the minecarts.
Right.
I think I don't know.
After that, Gildor
Yeah,
got
maybe.
that. Yeah. Okay,
Deb.
thank you. I think that this is Deb's turn. Thank you, Sabine. Debs, what you up to?
Okay, I've now got free range of movement. I'm not hooked to anything. Do I still? I wasn't clear if Dominic left me with when he did his rehooking the hook to a kobold, or if he's still on my shoulders.
No, I'm not on your. I had to leap off your shoulders. I think I'm still in the cart with you.
Okay.
If the I don't know, is Griffin in the same cart with us? I would have gone to whichever cart I let.
We're in number 2.
All right.
Still in number 1 with Cobra.
And-
We're broing it up.
Yeah.
Bromancing it up.
So I think I would have had to have gone there, since that's where the kobold that Griffin hauled back with the bag would be. So you're on your own at the moment, Debs.
On my own. All bags have been all gems are accounted for.
Mostly.
You have yours, hopefully.
I've got mine in hand.
Theoretically, we have the one back that had 2, which is what Griffin ripped back with said kobold. And unless something truly awful has happened, I haven't felt myself get picked.
Yep, nope. So the kobold that came back with the pack is still holding on to it, but he's within your grasp.
No, he should be he was the one I hooked, so he should have fallen off. Did he take the bag with him?
I was not super clear on that was the one you hooked, because there were a couple.
Yeah, it's him
Okay.
and whichever one was hanging, because the other
Okay.
2 are on the other train.
All right, so that was a little bit of bad. Well, the other 2 were in the cart behind you. But that was a failure of listening on my part. I apologize. So yeah, I mean, with that 11, you've definitely got that bag under your control. So that is how that is.
Okay, so
So
the one that was flying got hooked.
got hooked.
There's 2 behind in the cart behind me.
Yep.
That's all the ones that are actually on our side.
Yes. And there's no more hooking you.
There's no more hooking me. But that hurt a lot. It had to get pulled out. I give Dominic that, but
That's done.
it wasn't fun. The carts are the sides of the carts. Gem on. If I put it at my feet for momentarily, it's not
probably
going to like
fine.
just fly out.
No, it's probably not just going to bounce right out. Like there's enough. Like these mine carts, it's not a smooth ride. It's bumpy. But you could put one at your feet and rely on it to stay there until the end of your turn, unless you roll very poorly, in which case I will,
Of course.
make something bad happen to it.
Okay,
yeah.
I look to the kobolds behind me. I may growl slightly. Debs tries always not to do that because it's,
There's some eeps,
always expected, but
some yaps.
sometimes the blood boils. And I am going to try and just grab both kobolds, one in each hand, because I'm dropping the thing to my feet.
Mhm.
And I just want to throw them at the other cart, back where they came from.
Nice. All right.
That is.
So are you losing your temper?
Yes, I am.
All right, then. That's a +1 to the roll. What else are you bringing into this?
That
bigness?
Big sister, yeah.
Sure.
And maybe that orc side in the background. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'll word it against that.
Embrace your inner orc.
Go for it.
Okay.
Roll with +3.
I will, at a later point, fix that so it's worded more for this idea rather than being able to choose either way.
Mm-hmm.
So that's +3. And that squeaks me to a 10.
Whew, all right. So you toss them over to the other side. But your blood is
to the
up.
other side, at the other side.
To the other side, direction. At the other side, in that direction. None of the winged kobolds are around anymore to help them. A few of the kobolds on the other side who remain, clamber up to the side and try to grab at their buddies to catch them and pull them in. One of them makes it, the other one doesn't. And
a comical ding of metal.
Yep. Thung.
Yeah.
And then the kobold is rolling tits over tea kettle and then into the darkness, away from the mine carts. And I think that in your fit of pique, you jump over to their side because this isn't finished.
Yeah. This is why I try not to embrace my orc side. It never makes good decisions happen. But yeah, I'm there.
Yep. Staring down the remaining kobolds. Let's see, how many is it now? Let's see here. Yeah, there's just 2 left. One of
2,
whom is
3, 10.
It's good. Counting's not your strong side when you're letting the orc blood do the piloting. So yeah, there's 2 left. One of whom is clearly just done with the fight, and the other one, carrying it into the cart. And now we're going to jump on to who wants to jump in here?
Me.
Yes. What do you do, Gildor?
I mean, jumping in is kind of what I do, right? I see this happening and I think that's not too great, but my staff is over there, so I need to get back anyways. I will turn to Griffin, say, hold on to my backpack, please. For a little while, I'm going at Debs. Because she needs some yoga now.
She needs some yoga right now. She's clearly got to realign her chakras and infuse her breath with spirit.
Yeah, and
All
also I
those
need my
things.
staff back. Yeah, so I'm jumping over because that's not very difficult, is it? Right?
Yeah, I mean,
And I think,
you have mighty leap, so normally I might.
yeah,
What's more important about this action is how you engage with Debs. So let's build around that and assume that you leap over there as a consequence.
yeah. And I think the kobolds are both not really willing to fight anymore, right? And the mimic
Yeah.
is back at the end and can't really get up. So I will
kind of-
say,
It's got your quarterstaff in its mouth and it's kind of like wiggling it around, and it's like it's the effect of, you know, if it's a 3 times as long as usual toothpick, just sort of grum, grum, grum.
that was a gift from my human father. You think
It doesn't. It doesn't seem to be making good progress.
Okay, I will ignore this for a moment because Team Debs, damn it. And I will put my hand on her shoulder and say, hey, we've done it. We've got it. Debs, we're good. We're good. Breathe. You've done it. You saved us.
I think I'm literally about to just like go for the throat of a kobold. And I think I would, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's make you.
Or
Do you want to roll to convince Debs, or do you want to role play this out? I'm happy either way.
ooh. Actually, I feel like if I was touched on the shoulder while in mid about to rip the throat out, I think the teeth would be turned very quickly around to whatever touched me. So I think, I mean, a roll or
I don't know.
or just
Sorry?
roll play it? Do we want roll or roll?
Dice or
I
words?
don't.
Yeah.
I like words.
Let's
I
words it
wrote
out.
so many
Yeah.
dice today.
Yeah.
I like words.
Then
The
let's
dice have
words
not
it out.
liked you, so yeah, maybe words.
I'm perfectly happy with that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, you'd get definitely
What-
a moment of just ferocious stare.
What sort of actual yoga wisdom, understanding that it doesn't have to be for real yoga wisdom, do you lay on Debs
Thank
in
you.
this moment?
I think what I say is breathe, Debs, find your center and who you really are. You are not a raging monster. Breathe. Remember your name. Remember who you are and what we're doing here. Breathe.
Debs, oversized jewelry. I got it. Yeah.
And we've
I'm
got
like
it.
almost like,
And
sorry, like patting the kobold slightly on the shoulder as I, slightly soothing.
They definitely shrink back from that.
Yeah. I mean, there's like one hand like holding the shoulder, one side, kind of almost like very solidly, and the other hand is just gently patting, like it's okay. Yeah, but I'm not really looking at it. Thanks, Greg. Thanks, Cobra.
sure, give me a moment here. I need to get my stuff back from that thing. I don't healthy for mimics anyway.
You do so. You hear a hack, sort of a gork noise. The mimic kind of looks like maybe it's relieved. It didn't have a good way on its own to get that out of its mouth. And just because I love seeing the move happen, do you guys think that was a bonding moment?
I felt like a bond.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think
Oh
so.
yeah, excellent.
Yeah, that was totally a bonding moment.
All right. Gilder, you first. Which choice would you like? Add 1 to the teamwork pool, restore 2 hit points to a teammate, sway the crowd.
I will restore. Oh wait, sway the crowd. We're away from.
From
Wow,
up.
I leave that to Debs. I'll give Debs 2 hit points back just because I think that that kind of reflects the fact that I went into her physical well-being a little, right?
That sounds good. Makes sense. Debs, what do you want to do?
I think the crowd has been enjoying and I think they would like. I think they're probably the type of crowd that would like to see a little bit of bloodthirsty orc action. But then the other side of the crowd also gets that lovely little moment of wisdom and calming down and
All right. So
something for everyone.
So that does take the crowd to fanatical. Let's see here. When the crowd becomes fanatical, everyone on the team gains a fame tag. So just take a moment to note somewhere on your character that you've got a fame tag coming to you. And you're welcome to define that a little later. But you decraw the mimic. You both get yourselves back onto the actual, heroic train of minecarts. And after what feels like not a whole lot of time at all, the two rails split away from each other. Your carts start to slow down and then roll to a gentle stop at the end of the line. And there's quite a lot of fanfare waiting for you. DJ Willowburn is there in person to greet you. There's a good crowd there of folks in their, commemorative inaugural Smoky Mountains crawl mining helmets, and big old plastic things of beer. A lot of popcorn is getting thrown around. And you guys managed to bring back all 4 gems. I had to spend a little extra prep time being like, well, crap, I need a prize tier for every single number of gems that they could potentially bring back. So just so you know, this was
Thanks
a lot
for the
of
extra
work.
effort.
But I could have just stuck with the 4. I should have had faith in you, really. That's what should have happened. So you get each a gold note for 5,000 GP. Just dumping money on you guys. You get Night Splitter, which is, here I'm gonna just copy and paste that into our chat, a battle axe with the fabled ability once per day, it can flash with blinding light. You also get a bottle of Sovereign Glue with 7 uses into it, which permanently bonds 2 things together. Each use can cover up to a square foot of space, aka the I have to give this to them because I need to know exactly what crazy thing they'll do with it later kind of an item. You also get a potion of flying, which does what it says, basically. And a drift globe, which is basically an automated light spell in a globe that floats and follows you around. So it's a torch you don't have to hold and doesn't make smoke. Which,
Gives you good lighting for the cameras, right?
great lighting. You can
Cool.
adjust the temperature of the lighting. So, if you're a bit more of an autumn, you can dial it this way. If you're a bit more of a winter, you can dial it that way. And you also, they say, all right, well, we're going to compare your scores and times to other teams that challenge the crawl over the course of this inaugural weekend. If you guys place first, you will also win a week-long all expenses paid vacation for 2 at Dollywood. You'll also receive the Smoky Mountains inaugural crawl golden pickaxe. And of course, it's there on this beautiful plinth with an acrylic casing around it and special lighting. And it's a solid gold pickaxe with a little engraved plaque on the bottom of sort of the wood stand it's mounted to. Tyler, is there any additional feature or detail to this golden pickaxe that stands out to you?
It's the one that does the big brilliant light.
No, this is basically, it's a trophy. It's a golden...
the trophy. Okay.
Yeah.
I think that it has a feature where you can put like a little cone of incense in the top of it, so it would actually have smoke for the Smoky Mountain swirling around it when it sits there.
It's certainly doing so right now because it's smoke for the Smoky Mountains. It's perfect.
Right.
And you each get 5 commemorative t-shirts as well. Usually you would know you get multiples of something like this so that you can sign it and sell some of them as souvenirs. Just a little bit of some of the cheapest, cheesiest back scratching that happens in this Xcrawl circuit. But yep, lots of hands are shaken, lots of photographs are taken. Betty Brightwell is there again to congratulate you on a job well done. Would you like to sort of marinate in this sort of post scene, or do you want to go back to your hotels and follow around individual characters? What's sort of the mood?
I'm up for
Behind
marinating.
this.
Sure.
Oh.
All right, we got 1 vote. Marinade, 1 vote, move on. Rich.
Dang it. I hate being a deciding vote. And when we say marinate, that means we do like outside of the dungeon stuff.
Like right now you're outside of the dungeon.
Right.
I am mostly asking if you want to stay here in this, you're on that dungeon location, but outside of it. So with these crowds, with the DJ, with Betty Brightwell, etc.
Okay.
And
then move on is like go out into
the world. Basically, we go one by one, and I'm like, hey, do you go back to your hotel, or are you staying with the Adventurers Guild? What are you into?
Yeah, I think the move on sounds most appealing of those 2 options.
Okay, cool. I would be happy to go back and sort of flash back to this moment if anybody has any details that they have in their mind lingering.
I'm fine with if Sabine wants to have a little bit of a moment before we move on.
I don't know. I mean, it's just that Gildor probably wants to stay there and have a little ego booster, I guess.
Then let's start off with you as we cut into individual scenes or individual-ish scenes and start to pull away from the dungeon events. So, you're there in this publicity area. The DJ is still there. Betty Brightwell is still there. There are some crowds. You can tell actually that the people here in this crowd, they're VIPs. They're not just the rank and file of your typical Xcrawl fans. There are some local representatives from the Adventurers Guild here that have been congratulating you all on a crawl well crawled. What are you looking to do? What part of this stage of being through the crawl is really appealing to Gildor?
I think just the whole ego boost that you get when people are like, yay, and then think that you're kind of great. He kind of, he's a bit torn because on one side he needs to be the wise and detached yoga guy. But on the other hand, there are so many people and they want him to sign things and that's so amazing. And
Yep, people have definitely come up to you multiple times asking you to sign their helmets. This goes the same for everybody. Like,
I will write little yoga truisms on in addition to
oh wow.
to
Yep.
the signing. Yeah, just brief things. And I will look around to see what Griffin is doing. Just like, is he still there? Is he looking at me? I'm not. No, I'm signing this. Of course, I'm signing this.
I think Griffin has moved to the buffet table and he's scooped up some food into a very small bowl and he has like held it up to often goof, but he checks over to make sure Gildor's good. He's one who basks in the spotlight well.
The ferret like waves at Gildor with one little
Perfect.
paw, and like it's got one big puffy cheek and there's still a little bit of chip dangling out of his mouth.
Yes, ferret antics for the win.
That's such a cute ferret. Yeah.
And then it has to like scramble its paws back down because the chip's about to fall. And possessively it munches on the rest of it.
I might go over there and just tell Griffin what a cute little friend he has.
Oh, thanks. And he'll extend his arm so that Urfel can climb along it and hop onto Gildor because you're wearing a robe. Because if you were shirtless, that could be painful. I did not think we were going to make it out. At first I thought, oh, this is easy. We just took out the big bad, but those kobolds were tenacious.
Yeah, and I thank you for helping me out there. I was a bit worried, to be honest.
Me too. It was bad luck though.
Yeah, and I'm looks like I want to say more, but then I look around, there's a crowd of people and cameras and stuff, and so I don't.
Cameras everywhere.
And I like it.
Yeah, we should. Let's talk later. We'll talk more later.
Yeah, let's maybe just go for a coffee or something.
Yeah, I'd like that.
Cool. Okay, then bye, Urfel.
And Urfel like waves and takes a moment to adjust his little bow tie and scampers back over to Griffin's shoulder.
Nice.
And immediately makes like the chip gesture. Urfel understands exactly how many chips he's earned today, and he knows that you're only about halfway there. And Dominic, what are you up to in this scrum of lights and cameras?
I am definitely moving from camera to camera, giving off catchphrases. I will pull down my mandolin and begin to sing them a little bit of, let's see, I'm probably trying to do a little bit of a disco funk fusion here, but I have quickly put together the highlights of our run into a solid Parliament's P-Funk style ballad for this.
Your bardic mind has already put together a couple of verses.
It's absolutely, because I mean, that's clearly I was doing that more than paying attention to fighting.
Yep.
With my roles. But yeah, moving through, passing out the cards, and probably hyping up that this is just a sign that the team is coming together and it's going to be the next big deal in a Hexcrawl.
Yep. I hate to zoom in on something that's probably a little boring, but when you say cards, you mean business cards? Are they your business cards?
No, I think I've worked up. I think the team altogether. We never came up with a name. I think we just called ourselves the team, didn't we?
Yep. I'm perfectly happy continuing to elide that
All right.
as you please. But yeah, all right. So it's the team's one.
Mhm.
You know, it's got your individual names and the team name in a nice big bold font, bright colors.
I think at the back of it, it's got like a group shot of us.
Group shot. It's probably got your Adventurers Guild local, etc. And you know, a few notes on how to contact your agent
Absolutely.
if you have one. You probably do. You might have an agent through Adventurers Guild services and not necessarily an independent professional agent. Cool. And Debs, what are you up to here in this?
Did you say it was only like kind of the rich sponsor fans and stuff, or is
Yeah,
there
it's-
actual?
It's the folks who can pay top dollar for a seat who are here.
I think I would still. They might be not the
Maybe like during
core
one
fan,
of the
but
handshakings, like one of them's like, "Hey, I can get you a really good deal on a car," you know, that kind of thing.
yeah. Well, I think I would find the little kid that's being dragged along by rich parents and kind of go down on one knee and introduce myself. Like, you know, I hope it wasn't too scary. A little bit.
When you threw those cobbles, it was awesome.
Oh yeah.
And when you smashed the face off of that fire serpent, and it was like, and kid's very keyed up.
That singed me a little bit.
Oh, can I see?
Yeah, and
Leans in.
there's the where the grappling hook went in.
Whoa.
Those stings a little bit. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Leaning in to show the little hole.
What kind of item should this child offer up with a wide-eyed request that you sign it? Some kind of Xcrawl themed product, a collectible.
It's an action figure of one of my parents.
All right. We're gonna flip a coin here.
Yeah.
It's your mom.
So yeah, like little, almost Valkyrie-looking, blonde-haired, pigtail
Yep.
woman.
Yep.
Yeah.
With a little thing on the back that you toggle and it makes her swing.
Yeah. Sure, kid. Yeah.
Oh, thanks. And you know, with the action figure in one hand and this sloshing, almost but not quite empty to-go cup full of, well, used to be full of sugar soda, runs off to the parent, which is not a very long distance, but it's still required running don't ask child logic.
Yeah.
To describe to their parent the thing that they almost certainly watched you do. Because they are very thrilled.
And then I try and get out of there as quick as I can because Debs is very tired.
All right. So I'm gonna keep following you for a minute. Do you go back? Are you staying with the local Adventurers Guild? They've got a few cots and things. Do you have a hotel room? What does this look like?
Either there is just I'm trying to get an idea of how much this 5,000 was. The 5,000 gold pieces, by the way, like real world money kind of thing, or was that a for spending on things in the Xcrawl kind of money in the kind of fiction of the world? Like, is that kind of our earnings, or like how we're living off, what we would be living off this these prize monies?
So there is sort of a one-wayness to it, but it's different from what you're expressing here. So
Okay.
you can spend your winnings money on personal things or equipment for being in the dungeon. You can't spend your personal money on equipment.
Okay.
So if you are, Deborah, Deb's daughter in 5 years, and you're, regularly competing in Division 1, that's like the most elite division, and you have $1 million sponsorship contract so that you can be on the box of Barley's cereal that you need to eat. You got to eat it to be a good athlete. You can't use that $1 million to buy yourself a magic hammer to bring into Xcrawl.
Got it. Yeah. I think I've got it's either hotel room alone, or my parents have a camper van that, even though I've requested they don't, they follow me to Xcrawls.
Oh man, I think
okay with
embarrassing parents moment is much more interesting than hotel by yourself moment. Then I got to figure out something to throw at you, and you've already presented me with this delicious tidbit. So yeah, that's
I would
your
like
evening.
to go to the hotel, but they expect me to check in and debrief probably.
Your dad said something about having dinner ready.
Yeah.
And indeed you smell it.
Camper van
and both of your parents are big people, so like
I'm taller than my mum, but only through having some old blood.
Right. Yeah. So like the camper van rocks with them realizing that you're at the door, and they both want to get it. And inside, there's the typical mini kitchen, right, with like 2 burners on it, and then the tiny sink that frankly to you kind of looks like it's just a cup that they set into a counter. And then a little television with a bulbous front to it. Hold on. We're going to see how old this camper van is. It's in black and white. The television is. So things creak. You're hugged.
Hey,
your
Mom.
father. Yep.
Dad.
Yep. Hey.
Got t-shirts.
Oh, I love it. Now she rummages. They're all in your size, which means that they're a little big on your mom, but she immediately puts it on. Like she cannot wait. Yeah. What is your father's specialty when he's cooking?
Oh, he likes to go old school, so it is like a stew with lumps of meat. I'm sure you can literally see the head of a goat or something in there.
It's taken your mom several years, but like the head now gets presented on the side. And he's like, but the cheeks aren't as tasty if you, fine. But yeah, they fuss over you. Your dad.
I'm good. I'll poke that.
Well, it seems like you succeeded in every room. You didn't lose any of the pickaxes in that altar puzzle. That star monster battle in that huge gallery. Oof, that fire serpent.
Good thing we got those fire potions. I remember, plan ahead. Right tool for right target. Yeah.
This dungeon judge seems to have a pretty decent head on her shoulders. It seems like she was pointing towards spectacle, but not necessarily murder, which is great. I'll definitely have to send her a fruit basket. And all 4 gems. It was a close thing for a minute.
Yeah, I mean that was the team. I almost lost a couple.
Well, it happens when there's 12 of them and only 4 of you.
Yeah. Do you see that throw that Dominic did with the hook?
Didn't think the little guy had it in him. It was
I
impressive.
don't think it will surprise you.
Yeah.
No, it's always size that matters.
Oh yeah, my old teammate, and then your dad goes into this war story about one of the halflings that he used to work with back in his day, while he spoons out big bowls full of stew. And he's got a stew pot, and it's so big that of course it's balanced across both burners, which are both going right in that little camper. Sometimes you've been worried that it would actually crush through the countertop, but it hasn't yet. No. And yeah, it's once this ball gets rolling, it's hard to stop.
Yeah, I'm just like, occasional side glances, like slight affectionate eye rolls towards my mum as I'm like just shoveling in the stew.
Yep. And your mom has some stories that she's got always in her back pocket where she can compare some of the mishaps that you had with some of the mishaps that your father had back in the day. You know, if he starts to get a little bit too braggadocious. Bring
him back down to earth a bit.
Yep. How long do you stay with your parents, with your family?
I mean, do we, as Xcrawlers, do we have like what's the word? Like events that we need to follow up events to the Xcrawl that we need to be going to? Are they like day after interviews, TV appearances?
There's definitely some practicality on the back end of Xcrawl, right? Nobody schedules something for an Xcrawler to go to in the immediate like 6 to 20 hours after a crawl, because it's assumed that they will probably need some medical attention. They might die. So, you know, they might have to have a very rapid funeral arrangement of some kind. So things are very loosey-goosey for the first couple of days. And they also have to have a certain amount of time for other teams to test the dungeon that you did. So in general, you guys got the very first, the Virgin Crawl. And let's say that it's Friday evening, right? By the time you go out. And in general, this whole thing's going to last all weekend. And then, you know, it's for the week afterwards, starting Monday, Tuesday, is a lot of the interviews and the commentary stuff where everyone starts to really dig into everything that happened on each crawl.
Okay, I think I stay quite late then. And I think there is some grog. I think my dad has a bottle of grog that he pulls out, you know.
Yep, and your mom offers to let you stay over in the tent if you don't want to go to the hotel. Yeah, a bottle. Her dad calls it a bottle, but it's more like a pony keg.
Yeah, there's barely enough space in here for you guys. I
kept the tent.
I'll go to the hotel. Nah. But
it's the one from school, just like old times. I kept
the
your
one
sleeping
with
bag.
My feet stuck out of.
I thought you liked the way your feet stuck out of it. Say you like to sleep with cold feet.
I'm going to the hotel.
Okay.
They got an orc bed even.
Well, with
Somebody
that kind of
pulled
service,
strings.
I certainly can't keep you.
Yeah.
And your mom
But-
like gets up on her tippy toes and
Yeah.
like pulls you down a little bit and
Yeah.
kisses your forehead
Yeah.
really sweetly and tells you to have a good night. And your dad kind of keeps trying to get you to stay,
Yeah.
but you've got an ally in squeaking out
Yeah.
once you've
Yeah.
convinced her.
Yeah.
And yep,
I
get
go
to
over and kiss my dad on the cheek, and
Yep, he like makes a drunken chuckly point of being like, oh, she's not too old for that. And they both wave you off. And you go back to your hotel. And indeed, they've got a nice big kind of funny way would they describe the bed. It's an emperor bed.
Yeah.
It's like a king, but long.
Yeah.
So it's quite big, really quite nice showers. All the trimmings, and you can
Yeah.
sleep in perfect anonymity.
cut to 3 hours later, very loud buzzsaw like snoring.
Mm-hmm.
The Debs collapsed across the bed.
Nice. All right. Who wants to go next to be followed around a little bit? Griffin, you want to be put on the spot?
Sure. I don't think Griffin's super exciting though.
Well, I mean, I've got an angle for you. I'm going to go grab a glass of water. It won't be 2 minutes,
okay.
but then
Well,
I'm
let's
going to introduce
take
my
a-
angle.
Let's take a 2-minute bio then. Let's do
All right,
that.
sure. All right, so
Yeah, you said you had something to throw Griffin's way. I think Griffin's intention is to grab a couple of maybe recording crystals of different angles of our performance, and his intent was do enough to be seen as congenial and a good sport, and then go back to the hotel and just watch replays and take notes, copious notes.
So I think definitely the recording crystals are going to be in the purview of the local Adventurers Guild, because they want to control the broadcasts and make sure that there's no early piracy. So, they will let you do this, but they will also make you sign some legal documentation, which
I hand over the packets already signed.
Yep. You're ready for this, and as
In
you're,
triplicate.
Yep. And the local Adventurers Guild's like, yep, this looks about right. Hand stuff over, and as that's happening, DJ Willowburn steps up and says, "Philip, Mr. Nearly."
DJ Willowburn, hi, hello. How are you? Do you need a drink?
Oh, I'm fully hydrated despite the weather. It's fine.
Oh, good.
My friends call me Shirley.
Okay.
Which I've heard that you have an interest in DJing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I know that I'm far away from reaching your heights. It's just something I'm interested in. I really love the design. The theming of this crawl was on point.
Oh, thank you. I feel a little bit like I should have included some rules about how the gems were handled, but I feel like that was still a challenging enough segment for your party.
Well, the
High speeds tend to
backpacks
make
gave
everything
us, yeah,
difficult.
but the backpacks helped because the kobolds, if one of us had been one-handed, everybody had been one-handed, that I kind of liked the ability for creativity, that it was loose enough. But yeah, if you want to tighten that up for the rest of them, sure, go for it. Who am I to say?
Well, of course I have to let every other participant of this opening of the gates for Smoky Mountains Crawl, I have to let them participate the same way. Otherwise, it is not fair. But for future crawls, I might have to maneuver things around. Although, of course, I probably shouldn't run all of the same rooms and rules for this next crawl anyway.
Right.
Keep everybody on their toes.
Out of character, has Willowburn built other crawls from scratch? Is this Willowburn's first? Are they local? Are they?
Willowburn is local,
Okay.
actually, and you know that she's worked really hard to make this crawl go. I'm gonna flip a coin here and be like, is this her first crawl? No, so she's got a bit of a background in DJ assistanting, sort of, and in logistics and stage design.
Nice. Okay.
So she's kind of been in the background for a while, but she's been really putting in the time and has been instrumental to the execution of several prestigious crawls. And then this is her baby.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
she's definitely got a little extra preen going on, because this has gone off pretty well. Ratings are going pretty good. You made the crowd fanatical, so things are looking up for Smoky Mountains Crawl. And if you've tried to put your finger on the pulse at the Adventurers Guild, you know that DJ Willowburn is really interested in this crawl becoming a regular staple and becoming an economic bulwark in this area that keeps people employed, that keeps money coming in.
I can't wait till the next Smoky Mountains Crawl, honestly. That was really fun. It was a good mix of puzzle and combat, and then the end race was honestly, I was tired, but that made it more exciting. So
Good.
I'm planning on studying because I really feel like we need to work on endurance there at the end. I mean, we were flubbing stuff left and right. When I say we, I'm mostly me. But
Well, exhaustion hits everybody. A little bit of cardio training probably wouldn't do you amiss.
right.
But I'd love to get out of the noise a little bit and start not relaxing, but certainly thinking about future steps for Smoky Mountain Crawl. But while I've got the time and you're here, would you like to take a tour of the control room?
Absolutely. I'd love that. And that sound against the rules because I've already gone through. So yes.
Yep, you're not going to see anything there that's going to affect your performance now that you're
right.
done.
Right. Yes. Let's go, please. And I think there's a moment where he like looks back to the team and just wonders, like, okay, I know Debs has got family stuff. Dom's singing. Cobra's getting interviews. Okay, I'm not leaving you behind. I'm going to do this.
And she leads you in through the utility tunnels. While you're going through, you can see, and a lot of this stuff is labeled. There's a lot of the design of the utility tunnels and other no-go areas of this crawl. They're very idiot-proof is the intent. So if you are running pell-mell, sweating, you've got 5 seconds to get to this spot on your queue. There's supposed to be no room for error. So there's lines on the floor that are color coded and pattern matched because plenty of other species are colorblind. And you can see, signs above: monster staging, staff access, referee break. referee tunnel, room 1, that kind of thing. And then you're in the control room, and there's a broad series of arcane video screens available, and a big, this is like classic old school audio control room board with, you know, just hundreds and hundreds of switches and dials and knobs and sliders and
Nice.
things. And you know, there's somebody hunched over a lot of it still, and there are actually a couple of sort of younger blood. They seem like tech mages, you can tell pretty easily. They're with some kind of actor or actress. It seems like they're recording an explanation or some B-roll. They're talking about the innovative arcane video screen algorithm that they had to use to keep up with the party as they went down the rail cars. And DJ Willowburn pauses for a moment and says, oh, taps on the hunched over figure's shoulder. Edgar, you should meet Philip Neely. Philip, this is Edgar Cratchit. He is our lead mage tech.
Edgar, nice to meet you. Great work on this crawl. It's on I've done some study on some of the others, and in Long Island, we of course looked at a lot of older crawls, and you guys top notch, like really solid work.
He shakes your hand and goes, well, if I'm doing my job right, you don't notice a thing except the screens. So I'm quite satisfied with the way this crawl turned out.
You should be. How long did you guys, Griff's just gonna ask like all this, like how long did you spin this thing? And I don't know if we want to go down that rabbit hole, but Griff will be asking all the like, how did this soup to nuts? Like, how did all this happen? Almost like he's filming a live documentary, but it's all for his brain.
Right. And they'll talk shop with you pretty happily, especially like how able to keep up do you think Philip would be if they started talking to him on their own level? Because that's really going to determine the speed of this conversation.
I think it would be like someone who's taken a bunch of courses in Spanish, being dropped in Mexico City with a bunch of folks just talking to each other. So he'd get like 85 to 95% of what's going on, but there will be certain terms that would be like, missing on the YouTube translation because of inaudible or something like that.
Right. So yeah, they're fairly generous with their time. And you can probably spend like an hour and a half, maybe up to 2 hours, just picking their brains and hobnobbing and taking it all in, and having a decent time before it's time for you to return to. Are you staying at a hotel? Are you staying at the local Adventurers Guild branch?
I think I'm staying at the Magic 8 Ball. It's like a Super 8, but Magic 8 Ball.
Oh man. Okay. All right. So it's the motel. Cool. The upside is that you have a full kitchenette.
Exactly. That's why I chose it. I suggested it to everybody. Kitchenette, guys, save money.
Is this the same hotel that Deb is at?
Oh, please. No. Oh,
No,
they all
or-
stayed at Magic 8 Ball.
Unless you both are desperate for it.
I'm just wondering if you can hear like through the wall.
The snoring. Oh
The
God, that'd
snoring.
be so cute. But maybe you are at a Magic 8 Ball hotel. Maybe you're at something a little classier because you're parents.
I think that since you both enjoy it so much, the idea of you being neighbors and you hearing the incredible buzzsaw snore as you're even through the shower, I think that's when you hear it. You're showering and you're like startled even by it.
Something falling.
Yep. And I think that's when we cut to Gildor. So how late, Gildor, do you think you stay at sort of the after party moments?
I don't think I'll stay all that long because that was an exhausting thing that we did, right?
Mhm.
So I'll wait until I'll certainly stay until Dominic is finished his piece set and try to tell people how good he is, and then I'll get off, leave, and be alone with my thoughts, which is not a good place to be right now because I messed up. I messed up so bad. Yeah. And I will go to the Adventurers Guild because I have a hotel room. My father, of course, paid for a hotel room, right?
And your father was even like, do you need to be picked up from the dungeon? Which you know he would probably do in his limo.
No, I don't need to be picked up from the dungeon. I will tell him that I need to focus and center myself after being through a dungeon, and that I can absolutely take care of myself. Thank you, Dad. And I will then go to the Adventurers Guild, and
Yep.
I don't
The
know
bonus to
what's
staying in-
Dominic. Is Dominic still on? Can I glom onto Dominic and just not to be alone with my thoughts, basically? Is that the thing? Do you mind
Dominic,
that?
Sure,
You-
I was planning on hitting the clubs and the bars, so come on.
I will come along. That sounds fabulous. Do you stay at your Adventurers Guild? No? Or do you have a hotel room?
I imagine I have a hotel room.
at the Super 8 Ball?
Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. I think I'll just maybe then tag along to the Super 8 Ball. They might have another room for me, right? After this. Yeah, and I'll go with you to the you have a feeling that I'm avoiding something or
Well,
someone.
going to a string of nightclubs is a great way to avoid some things and some ones. Dominique, since Gildor's kind of put his evening in your hands, what do you do with it? What's your club time like?
Well, we're up at Gatlinburg, so I think we hit like axe throwing bars, and we'll definitely go and like crash one of the shows and get up there, and I'll play a walk on, and we'll cheer, and we'll get drunk and do karaoke, and then probably finish somewhere that they've got a bull riding, a mechanical bull, and then stumble into a whatever their version of Uber is, and make our way back to the hotel from there, hopefully with your troubles drunkenly besotted away.
Yep. Yeah, I feel like if this were a television show, this is where they would do a montage where it's short clips of you two as you're, downing shots and then chucking axes. And then there's a moment, right, where the action freezes in this perfect Polaroid shot, and then the Polaroid picture frame sort of fades in over it. And then, by the end of this segment, we've got a pile of Polaroid photos of you two partying together. And that is sort of the wipe.
I will totally have told.
Go ahead.
I will tell you about how I feel like I'm a failure and fraud and stuff like that when I'm drunk enough. I don't know if you will remember that the next day.
Probably not, but you could tell me.
I will say, look, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I messed up. I messed up so bad. I was thinking about my father, and I lost my balance, and I fell, and I nearly threw Griffin over the railing, and isn't he cute?
That's a lot of we won, so stop crying about screwing up, and I guess he'd do it a pinch. I mean, any port in a storm, right? Shots!
Okay, shots.
And your bartender's like, shots. Yeah. Takes your coin, same as anybody else, and lines them up.
think we're both not the one people who will absolutely be the ones who will drink the most because of body mass, right? So
Yeah, and if Gildor doesn't drink regularly, like
it's
being
kinda-
super
it's
fit,
kinda easy.
being super fit means that alcohol messes
doesn't.
you up.
Okay.
Gildor's having fun.
Yeah. Yeah, he is. He's not usually drinking. No,
Yeah.
that's body fat.
Yep. So yeah, you party, you put your worries beside you, or at least behind you, maybe. And then a cab takes you back to the Super 8 Ball. And you stumble in, hopefully having enough time to shower and get some of the disgustingness, that feeling that's creeping in from, the cave dust and the alcohol and the other alcohol from sticking overnight as you collapse in a heap. But you know what? This Super 8 Ball, you're pretty sure that your dads would never call at the front desk and leave a note. They wouldn't even think to look for you here in the spot. So it's
I will tell the guy who signs us in that I absolutely love him, and I love this establishment. It's the greatest thing that I've ever seen.
how does he react to that? Checkouts at 11 a.m.
Yeah, 11 a.m. That's late. The early bird does not only catch the worm, but there's a moral, and I can't think of
He also doesn't catch a truncheon. There you go. Now that's twice as wise. You have a good night, sir.
it. You're so wise. It's amazing. Are you a master of Buddhism? You seem so stoic and together. I adore you, sir. I adore you. And then I'm taking the key and weaving off.
Remember, if the ice machine doesn't work the first time, slap it on the side. Then he goes back to whatever he's doing, which is probably watching TV. Oh, and Dominique, is there anything that you get up to alone in your room, passing out?
Yeah, I think it's probably a stumble in, collapse down to the bed, and kind of slide into a blackened, dreamless sleep.
Love it. Wonderful. Thank you so much, guys, for indulging me in a little extra time. The rail car ride took a bit longer than I thought it would. If we have time for stars and wishes, that would be cool. But I think more importantly than that would be, this should probably be off recording once we get to it, but I want to talk about whether we want to close this game here or if we want to push it just a little further.
Okay, that's a good combo. Do folks have enough? I know it's super late on the GMT. Do you guys want to push through, or do stars and wishes on Slack?
I'd rather do stars and wishes on Slack, to be honest.
Perfectly fine. Let's do that. All I need is one person saying that that's what they want to do, and that's what we'll do.
Yeah, no problem.
So let's stop recording and then talk about rolling forward or
Cool.
sliding to a halt.
Thanks everybody for watching. Thanks for playing, and we'll bring this recording to a close.